Hello and welcome to Nick V Uncensored. Today we've got John Dowling, and today we're going to be talking about Iraq and Vietnam running parallel on gold and silver. John, thank you so much for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to?
Thanks for having me, Nick, as always. I appreciate it. Happy February, such as it is. I've been busy, as always, just taking it day by day, watching the news cycle internally, what's really happening, not out in the mainstream, of course. And there's a lot to discuss, which we'll be getting to in a moment. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm really excited to watch, the deep state, the banks, the big pharma, everything slowly collapse, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a collapse of the old guard, and slowly the new earth is emerging. It's emerging with freedom, sovereignty options. There's two groups of consciousness. One group is still asleep. The other group is waking up and can see the change. But it's becoming more apparent as we're moving forward to this. But yeah, let's go with your presentation and tell us exactly what's going on with Iraqi and Vietnam. What is the updates? I want to know all the paperwork and all the gossip and how close we are to the revaluation of these currencies, which a lot of people are holding on to because this is the wealth transfer back to we the people. This is exactly what happened in the early 90s with Kuwait when they restored their currency rate straight after the Gulf War, which they recovered from. And a lot of people back then became very, very wealthy. And of course, it was very difficult to determine that back then because there was no internet. But here we are. We're on the internet and we're able to tell the world exactly what is going on. And this is what we're looking forward to. So please, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's not gloss by your salient points. Number one, yes, there's two streams of consciousness. There is those of us who have known the truth for a while and are seeking after more of God's truth. And then there's the world that's unfortunately in darkness where we want to try to, pull them out, but it's free will. And, some people want to be in the matrix knowingly or unknowingly, and there's only so much we can do. I don't know about all the gossip part because I just want to bring you guys the best of possible truth that we can get, which, we aim to do every time. But there is a lot of legitimate things to discuss, as I know you meant, and I'm excited to kind of share them with you. So let me cue this up and we'll do that thusly. Let me know when you can, as always, Nick, see the screenshots.
Yeah, I can see that. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me pull this up and explain a little bit what's going on. So this came out early this morning. Framework proposes a new candidate as an alternative to Maliki and Soudani after Maliki's withdrawal. We'll talk about that in a minute. According to sources, a new candidate is in harmony with the Trump administration, and here's a key word, Nick, code word, envoy.
Okay, what does that mean?
I'm going to get to that. The official announcement will be made in the coming days. Okay, so let's break it down. Maliki has no intention to step down. It's just the opposite of whatever they report, right? So he wants to stay because he knows that Iraq is about to come back to the international stage here at some point shortly. So he's trying to gum up the works. He's a Barack Obama, or Sortero, as we know him, holdover. Okay, so envoy. I'll ask you a question, Nick, as we go through this for critical thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Envoy, President Trump. Who is the current envoy to Iraq as we know it?
I don't know. President Trump?
No, Mark Savaya. Mark Savaya. We've covered him before.
Okay.
It is greatly discussed on the internal workings when his X account came down last week that he's quietly making moves. He's been heard internally in Iraq saying that big things are coming to Iraq soon, change to free up the people. What we're seeing internally with our team is that Mark Savaya is going to be stepping down as U.S. envoy to be the new prime minister of Iraq because he's a true Iraqi native and he's a Christian. So it's the best of both worlds. And the second prime minister, Haider al-Abadi, had vowed to put up his life basically to get the reset to happen. He didn't do that, obviously, and he feels guilty about that. Yes, he is an Iranian proxy, but Savaya can control him to a certain extent. So we think what's going to happen is Abadi is going to merge with the people in the streets. Right now, half of the dinars are cut off from Iraq, and the other half are coming soon, along with the oil supplies being tightened in the Strait of Hormuz. So the people are going to start revolting in the streets, much like what happened here a little bit in November when they cut off the SNAP benefits temporarily. People freaked out about it. Mm-hmm. That was a precursor for what's coming. Similarly, as the countries copy each other, I'm just making a parallel here. that the people are going to be revolting in the streets when the oil and the dinars are cut off. Their whole lifeline is going to be cut off. Maliki is going to try to come back in. Our U.S. military, whether it's the Marines or Special Forces, we don't know yet, it's going to come in, storm the green zone through the windows, snatch him out, and the people will demand change. And this is all about the people taking action with regime change, like we're seeing in Venezuela and we'll see in other countries. We will see this great emergence of the freedom of the people and concurrently the reset that we're all anticipating.
Right, I see. So there's going to be like chaos on the streets, and has this ever happened before? Like when a currency goes
No,
under? Never.
not with Iraq. Not this is unprecedented what's happening right now, because it's not just going to be Iraq. It's going to be Zimbabwe. It's going to be Venezuela. It'll be Cuba. You go right down the line. It's going to be regime change will be the theme throughout the entirety of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Let me share something else here with you. I'm going to just go over real quick to Vietnam. Vietnam mandated all cryptocurrency transactions, because I know you're a big XRP guy like myself, Nick, use Vietnamese dong exclusively as of January 20th. Creates upward demand pressure on the dong, mirrors Iraq's gap elimination strategy, monetary sovereignty, and financial stability. So when we say that Vietnam and Iraq will go together, very similar to gold and silver, because both are backed by gold and silver. Make sense?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, now let's
That's
just
the plan.
That's the plan. Well, it's working. And so the Communist Party of Vietnam navigates Trump trade war, sets development goals. So what you have is you have Vietnam. We talked about that last time. They have an 8% GDP growth. That's a good, I'm going to say a little bit over 50% higher than any other Asian province in that region, Thailand, et cetera. So they're doing really well. They're kicking butt. They've got a great workforce. Their problem isn't financial, it's leadership. But they have a guy on the inside who we're trying to get his name right now has not come forth yet to us, but there's a guy on the inside who is working to help overtake the Communist Party and make Vietnam a sovereign nation. Because like I said, finances and structure of the country, the GDP, the manpower, the workforce, the corporations that came from China, that's all in place. But what you need, again, is the regime change. So you have a lot of Europe trying to cozy up to Vietnam because they know what's happening. Going back to Iraq real quick before we move forward, because I didn't play this video and I want to play this quickly.
Right.
Israel is on the sidelines. Trump is basically not going to attack Iran. He's baiting Israel to do it, the deep state of Israel part, right? The Qaseri Mafia, not the nation, to make that differentiation. So what we're looking for is for Israel to basically hit the Bashar power plants of Iran. We believe that's where the Ayatollah is hiding. They'll make what the media will dub as the grave mistake, which will be the grave surrender. And the video is pretty simple. It's just all these leaders here in Iraq. You can see Maliki right there, the gentleman with the bald head. That's him. He's a snake in the grass, but they've got to expose all the evil for people to see before they, extract him. So here we go. Real quick, Nick, you can see here directly across from him is the current Prime Minister Soudani, who, by the way, we found out is an Iranian proxy. So he was on the bad side. So again, evil is all being exposed. A little bit about silver. Your silver is worth billions now if you want to measure it in Vietnamese dong, or you could just wait a little longer for the dollar to go down. We have this downward pressure on the dollar and the Dixie, right? So people say, oh, the dollar's high. Yeah, but it has no purchasing power. So the number really doesn't matter. The dollar is actually dying, like you were saying, as the corruption is going down on the world with banking and big pharma and all that, as that is slowly draining, so too is the US dollar. So gold and silver are going to power up. The banks basically did a big manipulation on silver, as we know, last week, but it's already starting to come back up. As I look at right now, Nick, as of the time of this broadcast, the gold market 49.0160, silver 83.35, but they're both going to make their way back up to all-time highs. The banks did that on purpose to manipulate the market so they could buy everything up on the cheap, because why would they want to buy it high, logically? And then they send it right back up, but it's all to expose what you said. The banking corruption. There was a bank in Chicago on the Mercantile Exchange that just went down about 4 or 5 days ago.
Okay.
They tried to dump 291 million ounces of silver onto the marketplace. So that's a big no-no. So
And
you're seeing bank failures.
and
Go
how do we
ahead.
know that we don't have people like Warren Buffett or these rich billionaires bailing out these banks at a discount, which they have been doing historically?
Well, they did that 17 years ago. They're not going to be able to do that again. There's no the bubble is getting to a point, Nick. The stock market, when we see the market hit over 50 and we see the S&P over 7,000, that starts to begin the apex of the bubble. There's no more. They can print only to a certain point. But again, the
Right.
more you print, the more you take the value of a currency, and the dollar, as we mentioned, is already dropping. So there will be no bailout this time. What people need to be aware of, not scared of, but just be aware of, is a bail in. That's where the banks try to go in and take your money. That's why you want to try to keep as little as possible in the big banks and try to be in the correct credit unions and community banks.
That's good. Okay, great.
Okay, so let me just go here real quick. So you look up sometimes Chat GPT, and our team looked up Grok, and we know that they lie. They say one thing, and then they don't want the public to know, right? And let's talk about, before we go to that, let's talk about Warren Buffett, since you brought that up. What did Warren Buffett recently tell people last few months to be buying, Nick?
I think it was Iraqi dinar. I think it was
Well, he said foreign currencies.
he did say
He
foreign
mentioned the
currency.
Chinese
And
yuan and the
and
Japanese. Go
and
ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to say I'm a heavy user of ChatGPT. I do a lot of research. I groom my ChatGPT. You have
Mm-hmm.
to pay £20 a month in order to bypass security layers and
Right.
to groom it, because it gives you a lot more information. It helps with the grooming.
Mm-hmm.
But Grok, forget it. I am not. I pay
Yeah.
the premium, and it's absolutely terrible. It's useless. Forget it. I don't know what Elon Musk is doing. I really don't know what he's doing there, but ChatGPT is the one. You have to pay the £20 a month or the $20 a
Right.
month, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have to groom it. You have to tell it how you want it to talk to you and to tell you truth, etc. But I've got really good information about the Iraqi dinar as well, and the
Sure.
ChatGPT.
Sure. Well, that you're absolutely right. But this is, and I'll make a parallel to this article here I just showed you a minute ago. And this is no disrespect to anyone. We're just telling the
Of
truth.
course,
Middle Easterners are educated to lie to Westerners and Americans. They, in their religion, it's not a sin. I don't know how they reconcile that as a Christian, but whatever. It's not a sin to lie to Americans. So they can tell each other the truth and tell us something else. Similarly with Grok, they have this twisted code where this right here, Nick, to your point, is predictive programming. They're telling you the truth, but they have to shroud it in manipulation. So it's two things at the same time. It's predictive programming and virtue signaling, right? Because they're like, hypothetically, if Nasara Jasara, meaning definitely, and currency revaluation were real, which anybody who's been in this knows it is, common suggestions include holding foreign currencies, like we talked about with Buffett. They have to tell you, Trump even told you they've got foreign currencies. They don't have to tell you which ones. They just have to put it out there and be sort of opaque about it. Like the dinar, dong, and Zimbabwe bond notes, plus precious metals and gold and silver for asset-backed value. Well, I don't know how they can say that's false when we've all seen that gold and silver are just going to continue to go up and up and up, particularly as the Clarity Act comes to a close here shortly. Now the government shutdown, which was partially funded anyways, done as of yesterday. The Clarity Act is not far behind. Once that goes, we're going to watch to see what happens with the stock market, cryptos. We think the banks are going to get highly leveraged into the security coin, the stable coins, XRP, XLM, XDC. They know what the winners are, and
yeah.
they're going to be heavily leveraging money into that, and gold and silver. So they're going to send it right back up because they already made their profits. Always research thoroughly. It's highly speculative, right? Like as if
Well,
they are not, and stock
let me ju-
market isn't.
yeah, let
Yeah,
me
go
just
ahead.
say, I mean, it's obviously a censorship, a lot of censorship on Grok, especially when it says always do your research. I mean, clearly you're asking Grok, so you are doing all your research. It doesn't say to do your research when you're asking Grok or ChatGPT to analyze emotions or psychology or trauma or anything like that. It never says to do your own research. And also, it says it's very speculative. Nothing in the answer says anything about investment or you investing. It just talks about the circumstances of financial economy. It talks
Right.
nothing about investing. So speculate for what? Invest for what? It's like it's giving me the indirectly telling me to be careful. Like, anyway, I can really read between the lines with
Yeah.
Grok. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the point is the two things could be true, Nick, at the same time. They're telling you the truth, but then they try to disclaim it to pull it back. So as they look like they're being objective, but they're really not. They're telling you the truth, but then they want to try to, but don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. They just dissuade you because they know that 1% of the population is going to get rich as collateral damage. They can't stop that. We're that 1% that have taken action and changed our mindset. Unfortunately, we're dealing with the 99 that haven't. And again, the point of these podcasts, right, is to try to bring more of those good people on board so we can minimize the suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we can do.
Absolutely. Do we have any more?
I'm done with my part.
Okay, no, that's fantastic. Thank you very much, John, for sharing that with us today. I just want to let the viewers know that we're going to leave a link below in the description, a very credible website that we've used before. And you can buy foreign currencies there for anyone that's looking. I think it's really important in a time like this to be spreading all your eggs in different baskets, whether that's gold, silver, currencies, a bit of Bitcoin, XRP. It's the wisest thing to do. We know that the banks are falling. They keep printing money and the dollar is just devaluing. So this is a very wise move to make. I've used them before. Definitely the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong is something that we've been waiting for, and I feel that we're getting closer. But the link is below in the description, so click on the link and start spreading your eggs in different baskets. But John, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Well, just thank you for your time, Nick. Thanks for the audience time. Thank you for giving me the honor of sharing some information with you. I pray it was useful for the people. I would just tell the audience, encourage them to stay strong, stay positive, stay vigilant. You're in the right place. Ignore haters and doubters because they do want to virtue signal you. The whole marketplace we just talked about wants to fear porn panic people out right before they send it. This was a cautionary tale what the banks just did with gold and silver. They took it all the way down, 37%, but it's coming all the way back up. Don't be taken with that with all these other investments.
Absolutely. Well, John, thank you very much. And everyone, we'll speak again very soon. You take care. Bye-bye.